welcome to my first episode of Sicknoteagain, a new adult health podcast that discusses the ins and outs and everything in between of chronic illness and injuries in adulthood. I am so excited to be recording this and to be joined by my first guest, Jessie, someone that I met on TikTok who also suffers with temporal lobe epilepsy, a form of epilepsy that just isn't discussed enough. So we thought it would be a great place to start here. Well, welcome.
Thanks.
I don't even know what I'm doing. This is the first episode, so we're just gonna roll with it. And I feel like this start was kind of quite sums up how we met, really, doesn't it?
Oh my God, completely. Now, I knew about you, obviously, from the beginning of my journey, but it only took me till like a while in to message you.
Yeah, and I had no idea who you were.
No, I know. And I always reference, I'm like, that video that I saw on TikTok, like, that's what I've got. And then my friends would be like, don't be so, like, stupid. And I'm like, now he's stupid.
That's actually crazy to
I
me.
know.
When I got your message, I was like, there's no way. There is no way. Because
I know.
also, I've spoken about my journey so much on TikTok, and I've had so many people be like, I've had a brain tumor, I've had cancer, I've had this, I've had that. Not a single person has ever messaged me going, I have those seizures
I
until you
know.
messaged me.
When I don't know how you ended up on my For You page. Obviously, like, it's been hearing me talking about the seizures, but like I couldn't explain. You know, when people say, what do you experience when you're having them? I'm like, I do not know how to explain it. And then your video, I was like, that's what it is. Like, if I could put it into words, she's describing what I'm having.
Oh my gosh, it is
I
literally
know.
a story.
I know. What the hell?
We're gonna like write a book one day together, being like, this is
Oh
how
my
we met, and it
gosh.
was over these crazy seizures that we can't actually describe.
Yeah, no one knows. Maybe we have a TV program instead of a book. That would be better.
Like Grey's Anatomy, but just seizures.
Yeah.
Just because also when I have one, I like try and explain it to people, and I feel like they think I'm faking it as well, and I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah,
no.
because I could be like at dinner, not now because they've kind of like stopped with my medication, but I could be at dinner and I'm like, I've just had a seizure. And they're like, what? And I'm like, yeah, like you wouldn't know, but like,
Yeah.
but then sometimes my friends will be like looking at me and they'll be like, you've just had a seizure, haven't you? And I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
continue.
I feel like we need to explain
Oh,
to
yeah.
you hopefully watch my podcast. That feels really weird saying. What we are talking about. So essentially, we both have so I got told mine are called temporal lobe seizures because of where so we basically both have, or mine got resected but had and have brain tumors. And they cause these crazy um which I think no one really, well, from what I've seen, no one really speaks about them at all. I think there's a lot of awareness for epilepsy in general, but I think one form of epilepsy, which is the kind of tonic-clonic seizures that we are all aware of. And I think you're taught about that in school, first aid training.
You see it on TV, like people having seizures, and it's always like the grand mal seizures, but so
Exactly. No, oh my gosh, go for it. I said this from the start. I was like, we are just gonna have so much to talk
I
about.
know. Where do you
Um,
start?
where do you start? And when I got diagnosed with mine, where my brain tumor was, it was on my temporal lobe. So that's yeah, they kind of said that's why mine were called temporal lobe seizures because I think overall they're called like focal seizures. I don't know if
Yeah,
that's
that's
what
what they've
they're
called
called.
mine, but mine's
Yeah,
on my temporal lobe. Was your on your right or your left side?
my right. Just like literally,
Mine's on my right as well. I know. Mine's
yeah.
on my right too, but it was always called focal.
Huh.
But then I'd go into like
Yours
appointments. I'm like, well, actually, it's temporal lobe.
So is yours on
Like,
your temporal lobe?
yeah, and like,
I
yeah,
didn't know this.
yeah.
What?
I know. That's why when I found out, I was like, I need to message her.
I didn't know yours was on
Yeah.
your phone.
Yeah. So like everything that you've experienced, I am experiencing it like a year later.
So, so yeah, so my neurologist, he was like, they're temporal lobe seizures.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it makes sense.
Oh my God, sorry, I had no
No.
idea that yours was on your temporal lobe as
No.
well.
Yeah.
Oh my God, in real time, like the woman is too stunned to speak.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I know. It's wild.
Yeah, so when I like, for me personally, like when I first started experiencing them, I think I was younger than I was like before uni, so 17. I first
Oh my
started getting
God.
like the weird smells and the weird tastes.
Yeah, I never got that. I never got that.
I would start smelling like burning and like burning popcorn.
I
And then
remember your video.
yeah, I could taste bacon, and that was like the biggest red flag because I don't eat meat. And
I was
I'd
gonna
be
say you're veggie, aren't you?
yeah. And I was like, why am I tasting? And it was so like off-putting as well because I don't like bacon. So I was like, this is
Not
not
nice.
right. And I just remember like I have such a vivid memory of being in Morrison's with my mum at like 17 and being like, something is happening. I was like, I can taste bacon. I'm smelling like burning whatever. And she was like, you're okay, like it's fine. Because obviously I was 17 at the time. Like all of my friends at the time were also turning 18. So we were kind of going out quite a bit. And
Yeah.
I had my A levels. So she was like, maybe you're
Bit
stressed.
stressed.
Or like, she was like, it's going to be like, if it happens again, like we'll go to the GP. So that kind of happened a few times. We did go to the GP and then they put it down to anxiety and stress because they were like, you're going to uni, you're going like again, you're doing your A levels.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, it's stress.
Cool.
Like, of course it is. Um, and then the hallucinations and the deja vu
Oh my
happening.
God, don't.
But like, how do you explain that to someone? Like, how
Oh,
do you go to a GP?
Lucy, my first one, I was in my bedroom with my boyfriend and it happened and I'd never told anyone after this. I told him like after months and months, but I was like, he was an alien. Like he was like an alien walking through the door, and that's when I had to run to the bathroom because I thought I was going to be sick, but it was like my first seizure that I didn't know what it was, and it took me months to be like, I saw you as an alien. I think it was when I was diagnosed, like, and I was in the car another time when I was undiagnosed with my mum and dad, and there was like goblins in like in the front window, and I remember just freaking out, and they're like, "What is happening?" And I'm like, I don't know.
I
So yeah,
but like trying to explain that, like I remember seeing, I think I told like a newspaper about it and they like printed it like front page and it was like
oh my
girl,
God, but you look crazy.
yeah, girl pink elephant. But I was seeing like
I,
pink elephant like all around my lecture
well, at
hall.
least that's friendly. Like mine was aliens.
Like I can't stay in here. I was like, I cannot. And my friend was like, and obviously these are like new uni friends as well.
Oh
So they're
yeah,
not even like
like
people
it's
I'm
a new word. Yeah.
and they were like, are you all right? And I was like, pink elephants are in this room. And I was like, get me out of here. And trying to go and be like, I'm seeing pink elephants.
Yeah, they'll lock you up. That's why I didn't say about the alien thing. I was like, they're gonna like lock me away.
It's
I
mental.
was I was scared that I was gonna be sectioned, so that's why I didn't say anything.
No, for real. And also, I feel like unless you're medically trained or you study science or I personally, for me, like I did an English degree. I'm very like arts and kind of that area of life. I don't know the different parts of your brain. I didn't know like different parts of your brain control different parts of like I didn't know
Everything.
everything. I
They
fully
don't
thought
teach that at school, do they?
no. So I was like, I'm hallucinating. Something is so wrong. And when I'm being told by GPs that it's like anxiety, I was like, I don't know. Like this is
Yeah, I
not
feel
anxiety.
you. Yeah, I've always had anxiety and I've never experienced this. Oh my
Ah,
God, we had a house party the day before my first seizure, and I was having like a cafetiere coffee, and I was drinking it, and it happened. And after I was like, "Is there drugs in the coffee? Is there drugs in the coffee?" Because I thought someone had spiked. Because I
Yeah.
don't do drugs, so I wouldn't know like the feeling of it. But what I always assumed it would feel like was like that, and I
Yeah.
was like not aware. I was like, "There's drugs in the coffee. There's drugs in the coffee." And my boyfriend was like, "No, there's not. Like, what's going on?" Obviously, like in there, like supporting me and stuff, but like at the same time, I thought I was drugged.
Oh, my neurologist has said before, he's like, it is like, I again have never taken like acid or anything, but he was like, it's like having like trips, like acid trips and
Everyone
stuff.
thinks that sounds fun though. Like it's not nice. It's not like a nice acid trip.
So many people have said that to me before, and they've been like, it
Yeah,
sounds cool, it sounds exciting. And I'm like, no, like it is
you have a go.
the scariest thing ever. Like when I went, because I also sometimes get like an aura before the
I
aura.
do. Yeah,
Yeah,
you know that it's gonna
you know
happen.
it's gonna happen.
And
And
then
I'm like,
yeah,
do not come, do not
yeah,
come.
you have to like breathe through it. Like please
Yeah.
don't.
Um, and like because whenever I first started getting them, I got the whole like impending doom feeling for ages. And
Yeah.
then like when I got really close to having my neurosurgery, I started getting like this feel like the euphoric.
Oh
Oh,
yeah, I remember you saying that on your videos.
yeah. And I went to my neurologist and I was like, I'm gonna sound insane. Like I'm gonna sound crazy. But I was like, has anyone before ever said that they felt like euphoric? And she was like, yes. She was like, that is another like signpost feeling. Like people will either feel this like impending doom or like pure euphoria. And I was like,
I've never had that, and I would like that.
it's so weird. Like I get it now. Like it really depends on like the seizure, but like sometimes it's like absolute like euphoria, but like that scares me because it literally feels like you could do like anything. Like when I'm having it, it's like like it's horrible. But like again, like sometimes when people are like, oh, like when you take like drugs, you feel like you're like on top of the world and you can do like absolutely, and I'm like, I feel like
That's
that's
what
what
you
they're
said.
talking about, like that feeling.
Yeah,
And she was like, yeah, like that's a common, and I'm like, both of those feelings are
I
awful.
don't want it.
Yeah, I'm like, it's not like a nice euphoria where you're like, oh my God, I feel great. It's
Yeah,
like, this is so scary. Like,
I could do anything. I
I
could like
could
jump
do,
off a roof.
yeah, and it's horrid. And it is just, oh, I just hate them. I absolutely
I
hate.
know. I got to the point where I was having after surgery, after radio, I was having like 7 a day. It, that's not even as much as I was having, like 7 in an hour. And I was literally, it was Friday night, and that mum was like, "Oh, what are you doing tonight?" I was like, "Nothing." I was like, "I'm just sitting waiting for a seizure."
Yeah.
And I was crying my eyes out because I was just like, I can't take it anymore. Like
Mm.
it's so draining physically, emotionally, and you just feel like after my surgery, I went on my first run on my own, and I had a seizure, and I just like had to ring my dad, like crying, "Can you come and pick me up?" And I felt like a child, and it just strips like everything away.
Yeah, and I feel like that just isn't again spoken about because you're like people aren't seeing you like physically have the seizure.
Yeah,
Oh well, if it's just happening inside of your head, then like you're fine. And I'm like,
yeah,
no, like I'm on like a journalism course at the moment and I'm having them. Every time I have one, I'm like, I need to go home. Like I
yeah.
can't,
I need to lie down.
yeah.
Well, it
Because
must be bad for us not to be able to drive. Do you know what I mean? Like they wouldn't
yeah,
take that away from us if it wasn't bad. So I
no,
feel like, guys, it is bad.
it is bad. And like
Yeah.
and even like the stuff with like the memory, like my memory is shot, like my short-term memory.
Yeah. No, I don't like to talk about it because obviously like, I don't want like my jobs to think I'm rubbish, but like
Yeah.
they can it's short term, long term I remember, but it's just like, "Oh Jess, like this is happening tomorrow," and then I'll forget, and then they're like, "I told you," and I'm like, "Yeah, you probably did." Cool.
But like I think that's an issue within itself that definitely needs to be discussed more, like not wanting to talk about things because you don't want your
Yeah.
employer to think you're rubbish or your course to think you're rubbish or your degree, and it's like you're not
It's
rubbish,
like
like
a
you're
secret.
capable. You actually have like a physical illness, disability if you want to,
Yeah.
but like you have something that is impacting you. And again, I think it's because it's not visible. like we walk around, like, not to gas you up, but like you look great, like you look so good. And
I
I
know.
feel like we walk around every day and like look fine. So people expect
Yeah.
us to work at the
That
same.
was the worst thing. Like after my surgery, walking around Tesco and like I look normal, but like I'd get so freaked out if someone like knocks me or like because obviously I've my head is like basically open at this point, and I used to be like I shouldn't probably be in Tesco, but you know stretch my legs. I need to get out and like
Yeah.
normalize society again. But I was so scared about being knocked, about like overstimulation, like you know just like busy environments that people think I'm fine, and I'm just like I've literally just had brain surgery. Someone touched my brain.
No, completely. And
It's
like
wild.
I think that is like a major issue with, I think, kind of like invisible illnesses, is that whole
Yeah.
looking just like completely fine and normal. And then also wanting to, I don't know if it's the same for you, but I put so much pressure on myself to like, I don't know if it's like acting normal. I don't know if that's the right word, but
Yeah.
like trying to just be like, no, like I am fine. Like,
Well, after my radio, like 6 weeks of radiotherapy, they were like, "You're gonna be tired," and then I saw like me napping in the day is like it's beating me, so I've
yeah,
like refused to sleep because I'm like, no, normally I wouldn't need a nap in the day, so I'm like, if I nap, then that means that I am tired, but I'm not, which I was, but I was like in denial, almost that it wasn't affecting me.
yeah. And I just, it's just
I know
rubbish.
we've been through a lot. How? Yeah, we're young spring
But
chickens.
this is the whole point of like this podcast, and like where the idea came from was because I think like there is so much talk about kind of like like really young people kind of getting poorly, but there is just that gap for like kind of adults, and like what happens like when you're
Yeah.
young to like mid 20s and like 30s, and when you're meant to just be like an adult and you're expected to like be buying a house and working
Oh
and
my
having
god.
kids, and it's like, well,
Yeah.
I can't do that
Sorry,
because
I've just gone back to work after a year off. Like,
yeah, it's like I'm always on a sabbatical. I'm
yeah,
in a hospital quite a lot, and
got appointments all the time. Like, it's not
yeah, it's like
MRIs, all that
every day
shit.
I come home to like 3 letters from a hospital.
The
Uh,
anxiety is unreal, isn't it? Like, I'm like, Mom, open it right now. Like, tell me what it is.
yeah. So how are you doing at the moment? And like where are you on your kind of treatment? You finished radiotherapy, haven't
Yeah, I
you?
finished that in November. Yeah, yeah, November. So now I'm onto my 3 monthly scans. I've had my first one. My brain tumor shrunk. Not to flex, I
Amazing.
know. They were
Congratulations.
like, it's thanks. They were like, it's a medical marvel, and I was like, oh my god, thank you. Because obviously they said it's gonna. If you see anything, it's gonna be 6 months after radio.
Yeah.
Um, so don't get your hopes up. So then to go into this meeting where I was kind of like, no expectations. Like it's just like a checkbox to tick. Do you know what I mean? Like, I was like, it's fine. So yeah, that's good news. And I've just had my second one, but it was meant to be on Friday. No, Tuesday, doesn't matter. And they rang me the day of to be like, we've not reviewed your results, so you're gonna have to come back another day. And I was like, do you know how much I psyched myself up for this appointment to get my results? Like, I didn't sleep last night. I've been counting down the days to get my results, and now I've not got an appointment to find my results out again.
Yeah.
So, but I've not had a seizure since January.
Oh my gosh, we're
I
in May
know,
now.
I know. It's like the longest I've been.
You're going to be driving in no time.
Well, how many months have I got? Like 9 more months.
Yeah.
But I don't like driving anyway, so fuck it.
I always say that. I'm like, because I didn't even end up learning in the end. I got to like, I don't know how many lessons I did. And then COVID happened and I got diagnosed. And I'm like, oh, it's a great excuse.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, I
Like,
can't drive. You have to pick me up.
guys, I got DVLA. They say no.
They know.
They've said no. So
Yeah, sorry about me. I've got a wine. Can I have a little swig?
yeah, go for it. I love the bougie glass.
Oh, thank you. She's posh.
It's gorgeous.
Where are you with your journey? I call
So
it a journey. Isn't journey such a nice word? I'm like, it's not a journey. Like it's something, it doesn't reflect it very well.
No, I don't know what I call it. Sometimes I say
Yeah.
journey. I don't know.
I
I
know, what is the word for it? I don't know.
I so I don't even know. Brain tumor wise,
Is
I'm just it's yearly like surveillance scans.
that
Uh,
just in case it comes back?
yeah, yeah. Um, and then it's just trying to get my epilepsy under
Under
control.
control. Oh
That
yeah, you had a bad, yeah.
definitely is not under control. Um, and then thyroid wise,
Oh yeah.
just not sure. Like, I think I'll find out if I'm in remission in October. I have my like big, I always forget what the scan is called. It's like a funny name. But the last time I saw them, they said there was just like a little bit of remnants of something in the left side, but they were like the radio iodine therapy that I had continues to
Is that
work.
the toxic one where you weren't allowed to like?
It's radioactive.
Yeah. I was watching it. I was told my mum. I was like, "Oh my god, Lucy's radioactive."
Yeah, mad. But they're like just didn't seem worried at all, and they were like, by October you should be, touch wood,
Touch wood.
in the clear. So dynamic risk assessment, it always like just comes to me.
Oh, okay.
So I have my dynamic risk assessment in October, so that's when I'm seeing like my oncologist, and hopefully
Okay.
I'll be in remission.
Oh
Um,
my god.
so yeah, I just haven't like it's one of those where I'm like I just don't think about it. I'm just like
Yeah.
what will be will
Crack on.
be. Um, yeah, and then yeah, I've
How
got
did you find your thyroid cancer?
um I was just really, do you know what? It was genuinely what I learned from my brain tumor. I was just really, really poorly for like a year straight. And I was like lucky in a sense because I hadn't got a lot. Well, there obviously was a lump there, but I just hadn't been like really checking. So
Yeah.
next, um, but I was just like proper poorly for like a year. Like I just kept getting the flu and a cold that just wouldn't go.
Oh
But
really?
yeah, and I was like, I was in like a pretty bad like I was living with some girls that just weren't great. Just like it was one of those like uni living situations.
Oh yeah, yeah,
And I kept being like, I think I've got damp in my room. I think I've got damp in my room. And they were like, we're
yeah.
gonna speaking to the landlord. And I was like, okay, well, I'm like getting ill all the
I'm
time.
poorly. Yeah.
And at the time, obviously, because I had epilepsy, I was like, well, I feel like my immune system like is quite weak. And at that point, I think I was only like a year out of brain surgery, like a
Oh
year and a
bloody
half.
hell.
Yeah. So I was like, I've only really just moved back to London. I'm like getting used to being on like meds, blah blah blah, whatever. So I kept going to my GP and I was like, I'm getting ill all the time, and it's either damp or like there's something wrong. And once again, I was like being palmed off. Like they were like, no, this one GP was like, you've got an STI. And I was like, I don't. And he was like, yeah, you
Sorry.
do. He tested me 3 times. And obviously came back negative like each time. And I just was like, okay, I'm not getting anywhere here. So then I moved out of that house really like early, like way before my tenancy, because I was like, I am getting so poorly that this is now like
Yeah.
me. Moved into this place, and the first thing I did, like, I don't even think we'd unpacked our boxes. I like registered for this GP like here, went there, and I was like, there is like something wrong with me. And I was like,
Yeah.
I need to be tested. I was like, I've had a brain tumor. I'm not doing this again. And all of my lymph nodes in my neck were swollen, and I was like, I want an ultrasound. Like, there's something wrong.
Could you see it visibly swollen?
No, I could like all up here. So I hadn't checked my neck down here, but it was just like all here. I was like, I've got cold, flu. I was like, I just want something checked. And
Yeah.
the GP was great. And she was like, yeah, I completely agree with you. Like, you've been ill for a year now. She was like, I can see it on your
Oh.
records. She was like, I'll get you bloods. And she was like, let's just ultrasound like up here. And then when I got to the ultrasound, the woman was like, if you don't mind, I'm going to do all of your neck just to like,
Yes, please.
oh,
Do my whole body.
I know. And then literally the next day I got a phone call from that GP and she was like, we found a lump in your neck down here and we need to biopsy it like now. And then they biopsied it and they were like, yeah, you've got cancer. And I was like, I literally knew it. I was like, I knew that there was something wrong with me that wasn't like an STI. Yeah.
It's so sad though that we've both had GPs that have like let us down massively. Like I
My,
went two or
I,
three
oh
times,
my God,
anxiety.
I literally
I
had,
rang back afterwards.
hmm?
You go. I rang back once I was diagnosed, and I was like, just so you know, your doctor, I don't know who he is, but you've got it on record. He misdiagnosed me twice. I've now got a brain tumor. I've got epilepsy. And they're like, yes, we're bringing you up in our meeting on Monday. I was like, what are you going to do? What's going to change though? Nothing. I was like, full on went Karen. It makes me angry because some are amazing. Like, some are so good. Like, you're one that books you a Microsoft, a ultrasound straight
Yeah,
away. Like,
yeah,
gorgeous.
fab. And also I've just had like she's actually just left now, but like I had a GP who was incredible, like absolutely fantastic, and like sorted out all of my care, did all of the coordination. Like once I had her, I was like, I'm
I
fine. Like
feel
I'm gonna be
better.
fine. Like and like yeah, so like I don't want to sit here and be like, they're all so bad.
Yeah.
Some of them are like incredible, but oh my gosh, like the
Not so.
like yeah, like we're there's two of us sitting here being like we have been misdiagnosed and not once, not twice, but like three times. And I've had
And with the same thing, like we both have a brain tumor and they both popped it off an anxiety.
and unfortunately, like I have got so many DMs from people being like, I had exactly the same experience as you.
Same. Honestly, I went on BBC Derby Radio and my first segment that I did, 'cause it's been on twice now, and my message was listen to your body. If there's something wrong, keep pushing. I was misdiagnosed, blah, blah, blah. The comments, there's like 500 comments on this reel on Instagram being like, this happened to me, this happened to my daughter. Literally, I was reading through them and I was like, what the hell? I keep saying, what the hell? What the fuck? Like, how is that's just one area? That's Derby. It's like a tiny place. But it's so, I was like, on the radio, I was like, I'm not coming for the NHS. Like, the NHS is like incredible. But then there are certain elements that let us down. Well, a
Yeah,
lot of
I think that
elements.
is that is the problem. Like the NHS overall is fantastic and we are so lucky to have it because I wouldn't be here if we didn't have
Imagine
it.
us paying for our brain
Yeah.
surgery.
Oh my, like and also the MRIs, like I've literally got MRIs
I,
a month. Um and like one brain MRI would like I just couldn't afford that.
I'm like, can I finance this
I put it on Klarna.
for the rest of
But at the same time, like you said, there are just certain elements, and especially when you're young, like I got diagnosed with my brain tumor at 20 years old. Like I look
Yeah,
back at me like 5 years ago, and I'm like, oh, that poor girl. She just had no idea.
I
Like
know.
I could have stand up for myself back then.
I'm a
Like it,
child.
yeah, it's taken me 5 years to like navigate the NHS and also learn to have a voice. And also, it took
Yeah,
another diagnosis. It took them fobbing me off with cancer for me to finally be like, okay, I've actually got a voice now. Like I'm fed up.
I'm
And
angry.
like delayed my career. It's delayed me having a life. Like I've lost so many friends. I've lost
Yeah,
relationships. Like I look at my friends at home who have got like babies and houses and like literally are married. And then I also look at people up here who I'm friends with who are so far advanced in their careers. And I'm like, okay, I don't have that because of these illnesses. And also when you're like fobbing me off and not doing anything about it, yeah, like you said, I'm now like angry. Like I'm now
yeah.
literally like
I'm fed up of it. Like
I'm
I was with my girls the other week, and we do parkrun on a Saturday, and I was running on my own through parkrun, and I just cried on my own because I was like, I've lost. You know when you just hear a song and it triggers like memories and stuff. I was like, I've lost 8 months of my life because I was off work 8 months, and I just thought I'm so far behind in my career. I've missed out with the girls. Obviously, they'd visit me all the time, but like
mm,
they're all like married, got a house, and I'm not blaming me not having those things because of this, but like I was like, I've lost these years. Like me sitting in my bedroom recovering, or like me going to radiotherapy for 6 weeks, like gets me really emotional. Like it's fucking shit.
Absolutely. And I think, again, like, I don't know if it's the same for you, but sometimes like I look ahead and I'm like
Effort.
effort, like, or like hospital appointments and like
And just like worrying.
it's an insane world to live in.
Yeah.
The chronic illness world.
I know. Woo. We need a club,
Or
like book club.
a chronic illness club. But like pretends we're not half the time.
Yeah, well, yeah, no one
And then
needs
I
to
have
know.
a seizure and I'm like, oop.
We wouldn't know though, it's fine. What you called as well? What's the podcast called?
Sick note again.
Oh yeah, I like that.
Yeah. Thank you so much for listening to the first episode of Sick Note Again. Don't forget to follow on all socials, and I will see you soon.